Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
You know, yeah. Y'all aren't real. Shut the. You know what that just made me think of just now is
What's that?
The intro song for "It's Too Late" is actually a full song, but you only hear like 20 seconds of it for the show. I don't think anyone has ever actually heard the whole song. Because it's like a 2.5 minute like big band thing, but you only hear 20 seconds every single week, so you've never heard like the rest of it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, maybe I'll see if I can find it, and in the after party we'll play the whole thing. Yeah. We got to find more stuff to get auto flagged for copyright on YouTube. Although, to be fair, I actually got out my wallet and put in my credit card and paid for a license for that song. All the way back. All the way back on episode 95, which was the first episode of the new format, It's Too Late. we redesigned it, and I had the music, and I paid for a license because I'm telling you the story because this is how naive I was at the time, right? Back then, 2.5, 3 years ago, I said to myself, well, I don't want to have any copyrighted material on my show, so I'll better pay for the license. And now we're streaming Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. How times have changed. Yeah. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back to It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley. Joined as always by the #1 producer in late night. It's Dave Willimowski. Dave, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Okay.
Oh, I got lost for a minute there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to vote for Top Scientist or Mad Cow. Then I figured I should read the question first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got home from some friend's house. Had some family hanging out time. Doing good. Ready to party.
I'm a little bit concerned that right now it's a route for Mad Cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that really says something about our audience. So before we go any further, a couple of programming notes. The first one being, we actually got so many new subscribers on the Twitch channel. Dave, show everybody the Twitch channel.
Oh, yeah.
Do you even remember how? Yeah.
I got confused because I actually have the Twitch channel up, and I'm like, you want a screenshot? Or?
Yeah. So we got so many new subscribers on the Twitch channel that we unlocked a new emote slot. Those are those little bitty pictures that you can show instead of communicating with other people. You communicate. It's like hieroglyphics, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Progress.
So we have a new one, and you know what that means is we have to auction it off.
That's the only way.
Yeah, so the last one we got went to Carl.
Obviously.
And the new one will probably go to Carl. Yeah. Probably going to go to Carl.
Sense.
But if you can get your bid in before Carl sees this, then you might get the new emote slot. I mean, it's the holiday season, you know. It's the end of the year. It's December. And we I mean, I was going to say we can't do this for free, but clearly we can, right, Dave? But consider supporting the program. You can go to alanmosley.tv/support, and there's our Patreon and our PayPal. And if you type in all those digits right there on those other ones, you can give us all your special internet money. Yeah. But you better not get one of those digits wrong, because if you lose 50 grand, then
it's just going off into the ether.
Yeah. I saw earlier today they announced this year's Times Magazine's Person of the Year. Drum roll, Dave. Do you want to know who Time Person of the Year is? Take a look. Here it is. It is.
Oh no.
It's President Zelensky.
Neat.
Of Ukraine. Yeah. The guy who is pulling the world into World War III is Times Person of the Year. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter, you know, like, I will say this, though, like, it's not all bad, because I imagine that the Ukrainian people are really happy about this. This is the best Time Person of the Year that they've had since 1938.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Don't say it.
You can't.
If you say it, then we're going to get Kanye'd. Yeah, their chat
Ryan
says it, so it's fine. Yeah, chat got it. It's fine. So earlier in the week, before we got to the show, I was getting some messages from people. And, of course, me, an intellectual, I'm like, fans messaging me directly? Block. But before I did that, I saw what they were saying. And they were saying, hey, are you guys going to talk about the Twitter files on the show this week? Did you hear about those Twitter files? You going to talk about the Twitter files? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the Twitter files. Does it just keep going?
Yeah. How long before they take this thing?
I don't know. I was just about to say, I think it's already played so long now that it's over. Like, if you're on YouTube, you can't even see me anymore.
Just shut us down.
Yeah, it's over. So here's the thing about the Twitter files. We don't have time for me to sit here and scroll through the 400 little tweets of, oh, did you see this happen? Did you see this happen? But I wanted to address it because I feel like a lot of people don't have the best takeaways when things like this happen. And the very first thing I want to mention is, and so for people that are not aware, what the Twitter files refers to is Elon Musk decided, I'm going to take some of the internal documents and communications from the previous ownership, specifically related to during the previous election cycle, and a lot to do with remember the whole Hunter Biden laptop story, and the New York Post broke the big story about Hunter Biden apparently forgot a laptop at a repair shop, and it's just the world's your oyster. It's got your kiddie porn, it's got him doing hookers and blow, it's got, personal communique with corrupt barons in Ukraine. I mean, it's everything that you can imagine, right? And the New York Post breaks this story. And what does Twitter do? They suppress it.
Yeah.
They move it down in the algorithm. They actually, if you remember, they actually deplatformed the Twitter profile of the New York Post for some number of hours or days or whatever. Like, they treated you the way they treat, like you or me.
Like normal people.
Yeah, they treated them like normal people. And so Elon Musk decided, I'm gonna come clean. I'm gonna air out all the dirty laundry because, like what do they say? Like, transparency is the best disinfectant, right? So so he takes a bunch of these files and he gives them to the reporter Matt Taibbi, and he starts kind of disseminating the info and tweeting out like some of the reflections on what he received. And instead of going through line by line, because basically at the end of the day, if you're wondering, well, what did it say? What it said was things we already knew, right?
Yep.
Like, it said things we already knew. I know that some random, bootlicker out there says, well, you couldn't know. You didn't have a source. Well, yeah, but we know, right? Like come on.
Yeah.
We know. And so there's evidence of politicians and the White House, which that would be the Trump White House, but they certainly catered a lot more to left-wing politicians than right-wing, where they could send links to tweets to Twitter HQ, and they would just go through deleting them, deleting the account holder, all this stuff. And that's really interesting because something I've talked about on the show before is the concept of a governmentality. A governmentality being that, well, it might be a private business, but they're really working as an extension of the government. So since they're working as an extension of the government, that makes them a governmentality. And a governmentality absolutely can violate your First Amendment rights. Whereas a private company can decide what to platform or not platform. They no longer get that protection when they're working at the behest of the government. So now that you understand what a governmentality is, and we know for a fact Twitter was doing this, then fast forward, you have all these right-wingers, right? You've got all these right-wingers that's saying, oh, here's the smoking gun. We've got them now. What happens next? There was so many. There was Tim Young and Cernovich and Poso and all your typical Fox News pundits and your Ben Shapiro's and your Blaze TVs and your Daily Wires. All these people are all saying, there's the smoking gun. We know that there was collusion. What happens next? Ladies and gentlemen, do you want me to tell you what happens next? Nothing.
Oh,
nothing happens next. Yeah. This is the same boomerism as the people who say, oh, posterity won't treat the COVID people very well. There's going to be hearings. They're going to subpoena Fauci. We're going to get to the bottom of this. He's going to prison. No, he's not. What? And frankly, what about all human history between mankind and the state has led you to believe that any of that would happen? Mm-hmm. When has anyone in your lifetime who genuinely negatively affected your life with the power of government ever been held accountable for anything they ever did? Right. Exactly. It hasn't happened. Yep. So it's look, what they did is terrible. And I would love for these people to be held accountable, but they're not going to be. And another thought that I had is particularly on the side of like the COVID stuff. When it comes to the COVID stuff, the biggest excuse that you hear today from mainstream sources is we didn't know. It's the fog of war, right? We didn't know how serious the virus was. We didn't know that masks don't work. We didn't know that the jabs could have unforeseen consequences and heart-related issues. We didn't know. We acted out of our best judgment. You know why that excuse doesn't work? You want to know why that excuse holds absolutely no water whatsoever? Because when you or I don't know something, we got to be cautious, right? But I don't mean cautious as in taking tons of precautions that we force upon others. I mean, we have to make sure we don't overstep ourselves. It's kind of like putting your foot in your mouth, right? You don't want to fire off and then you turn out to be wrong. No. But when they didn't know something, and I put that in air quotation marks because I tend to think that they know. They knew. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't know. The problem is that when they didn't know, they don't err on the side of caution, right? They err on the side of extreme authoritarianism. That's their nature. If you're going to go with your gut instinct when you don't have complete information, we now know, if you didn't already know, you now know what the state is all about. Their gut instinct is extreme authoritarianism. I've talked on this very show about how the word deserve is really heavy. You know, like telling people what they deserve. You ought to get what you deserve. And, you know, we better hope we don't get what we deserve, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, if you've seen our Patreon and PayPal, we pretty much get what we deserve, I think, on the show. So I'm not going to say anything that's going to get me in trouble and deplatformed. But I'm going to let my best friend, Samuel L. Jackson, tell you what these people deserve.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Guys, we're going to be back with the meme of the week and the viewer mail right after this commercial break. Don't go away. I was telling Dave during the break that we got an email from our friends over at Facebook that, hey, you've been streaming that foosball again? Well, you can't post for 72 hours, and we're deleting your video. Except for we're streaming on Facebook right now.
Yeah, it's not quite 72. Yeah,
it's right now. So anyway, guys, let me tell you about tonight's sponsor, which is Pat Crest Botanicals, which you can find at patcrestbotanicals.com. If you use promo code It's Too Late, you get 30% off.
You gotta be kidding me.
30% off. And I mean
30%.
Like 30% off, and then like if you adjust for inflation, that's like regular price.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's back to regular price instead of being 30% more. So you're welcome, everyone. Yes. If you want to see right here, I've got one of their products. This is the Delta 8 Blue Dream. For folks who missed it last week, If you know my friend Dave Willimowski, he's very fluid when it comes to consent. Dave, can we get a shot of this right here? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very fluid when it comes to consent. But if you need some consent fluid to get that special lady in the bedroom, you use the Delta 8 Blue Dream, just a few drops in her drink.
Drops?
A few bottle things, and I mean, it probably works on regular people. It doesn't work on me, but like, have you seen me? Right? All right. So anyway, that's Pat Crest Botanicals promo code. It's too late.
It's too late.
I was out earlier today, and I wasn't doing anything like Christmas shopping. I was in a store, but I wasn't doing Christmas shopping because it turns out they want you to pay for goods and services. Selfish, right? Like, totally not in the holiday season. But there was this lady walking down the aisle, and she had one kid. She's got like one kid on her hip right here and two kids following her, and she's just, like, she's about to go home and swallow a bottle of pills. She really needs some of the Blue Dream.
Some of the Blue Dream.
And there was this little boy behind her, and there was a little girl, and the girl was holding her hand. The boy wasn't holding her hand. The boy was like holding her shirt, and he's just talking. He's just making pronouncements. Attention, everyone. And then he starts asking her questions. I'm not following her. I just happen to be going down the same aisle. And he just starts asking her questions. It's like, hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? And finally, after so many attempts, he's not paying attention where he's going. He knocks a display over.
Oh, you don't need that.
And what's the lady do? She's at her wit's end, and she goes, well, I hope you're happy with yourself.
Oh.
And I thought, I've had a lot of people in my life say that to me, and I don't think any of them actually meant it.
That's not nice.
I like how you can't hit the goddamn laugh button for anything, and I say something like just tragic, and it's All right. Oh, while I'm opening up my fortune cookie, I forgot. Did you know what today is?
Wednesday. We do the show.
I should be proud of that answer. It's December 7th. Do you know what today is the anniversary of?
December 7th. No, I don't.
Pearl Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Yeah. See, it's the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And then I thought, for Pearl Harbor, we should make sure everybody knows that President FDR actually helped to orchestrate Pearl Harbor so that he could have a war.
Yep.
Because this episode tonight is pretty lighthearted, getting into the holiday spirit. We have a really great guest later. And I thought I should just shove a radical political statement randomly into the show to kind of balance out. It's like the yin to the yang, You ever been known to just shove it in, Dave?
No, you get yelled at.
Okay, so this isn't the first time this shit has happened. My fortune is like a threat. It says, "What comes around goes around."
Well, I guess it depends on.
I don't know if the camera can get that. I don't know. It's probably too bright in the light. What comes around goes around. What kind of fortune is that?
Well, I mean, if you're doing good, you don't have anything to worry about, right?
Dave.
Oh.
All right. Hey, Dave.
Yes, Alan.
What time is it?
It's time for meme of the week.
Me finally building up courage to talk about my AIDS. Everyone else at the orgy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bad timing.
But we do have a bonus meme. I know you're not going to hit the laugh button, for Christ's sake. So let's just go ahead and look at the bonus meme.
Okay.
Interviewer. It says here you never went to jail. Correct. I was taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. Let's go ahead and answer some viewer mail.
All right.
Whoa. was nice. I like that.
Wow.
Yep. So our first question comes from Andrew Avery, who writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, is the past tense of Bakeman freed Bakeman fraud?"
Hmm. Freed.
I don't know. We should ask Kanye what the past tense of that should be. Who's they, though? You know?
Who's they, though?
Tim Weissong writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, if you were in charge of creating an entirely new calendar system, where would you set year 0?
Well,
the answer is
no.
September 27th, 1985, because I don't believe anything that happened before I was here happened.
Yeah, they can't prove it.
Yeah. Like all of this was just created to shackle my brain in an endless waking nightmare.
That could be true.
Yeah. You ever think about that?
Yeah, I do. It's that whole thing. Like if you think that humanity will ever get to the point where we can create a simulation where the things being simulated don't know they're in a simulation, then what's the chances that that's not where we are right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Swole Keesley there in chat says I happened. So see, that's exactly what the designers would do. As soon as you're onto it, they would start spamming you with messages to try to convince you otherwise. So no.
Yep.
Ryan's not real. Justin Campbell writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, where is all the racism and hate speech that I hear so much about on Twitter? I can't seem to find it, and that's a thing I would totally like to look more into for research purposes. Your friend who's totally not a bigot, Justin." Oh. Yeah, they were. So, the experts, after Elon Musk takes over Twitter, starts writing articles saying, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of hate speech now on Twitter, and he's not doing a good job of taking care of like the child pornography." And it's like, but he's actually, of course, it's opposite day for the corporate press.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Justin, if you need a fix on bigotry, come hang out. Marilyn Willimowski writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, what is something you cannot understand the popularity of?"
Oh.
Dave, what's something you can't understand the popularity of?
Off the top of my head, The Walking Dead.
Ooh.
Seems like that just took way too long. Any movie like Zombie Apocalypse, you figured it'd settle itself out pretty quick, but what is that, like 10 years that thing's been running?
Yeah. Did you see they're making a new Avatar movie?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I'm gonna say Avatar, because the heroes of that movie are the white colonists, and they always are. Like historically, the white colonists are always the good guys. Yeah. Avatar is hate speech.
It's problematic.
So, yeah, there you go. Brian Sievert writes, "Christ, dear Alan and Dave, what was your favorite part of the Alex Jones interview with Ye?" I didn't watch it. I'm not going to. People are posting clips everywhere. Why would I watch that crap? Both of those people are total clowns.
The circuses are fun.
Well.
Are
they though? I've never really liked clowns. No,
they're creepy.
It probably goes back to the time when I was a little kid and a clown killed my dad.
Oh, wow, that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lalburio writes, "Will this be the most important December to remember of our lives?" It's the December to Remember sales event.
Is that going on? Yeah.
But I bet they're not giving you 30% off with promo code It's Too Late.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
I don't observe December to remember.
You should just type in It's Too Late in all the promo sections of whatever site you're on, and just see what happens.
Yeah, maybe they'll notice. They'll be like, "What is this? Everybody's typing this in."
Yeah. They're gonna think it's like, it's a new racist dog whistle. All right.
It's a threat.
Keith McQuarrie writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, What is the device you use to play all the sound bites? The device I use to play all the sound bites is Dave Willimowski, but it only works like 30% of the time.
Oh, if that.
but strangely enough, if you just pour alcohol on it, like a normal device would stop working. But Dave,
it goes nuts.
Yeah, then frankly, I have to ask him to stop hitting. There's no in between for you.
No.
It's either the show is just silent for half an hour, or it's just nonstop fucking lights and whistles. And now it's
shut the fuck
again.
up. No one cares. Know your fucking place. Trash.
All right. Brian Johnson writes, Dear Alan and Dave, did you have any favorite children's books growing up? Oh, did Dave?
Oh,
were you a nerd and read?
Well, I've been known to look at some pictures. I always liked Clifford the Big Red Dog. That one that popped right into my head. I'm like warm fuzzies thinking about that, like a nostalgic thing.
This was an interesting question. I meant to look it up, and I tried briefly, and I couldn't find it. So I'm not sure what the title of the book is. If someone in chat can find this book and like ship me a copy of it, I will read it on air. I will read it for like we'll do a little children's book thing.
Oh,
like it'll be story time hour, but without the drag queen. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess
so when I was in elementary school, they had this book in the children's library at my elementary school, and I don't remember the name of it, but this was the story. Let me like synopsis really quick. There was this old jester in court who would juggle colorful balls, and then he would keep adding colors until it was like a rainbow that he was juggling. But finally, the years wore on, and people got tired of his whole gimmick. And he was sent away. He was exiled because the people didn't like him anymore. And then he got really sad. And then he started juggling again because it's the only thing he knew how to do. And in the new village that he went to, all the kids came up and they were delighted because they loved his routine. And so he tried the hardest he'd ever had in his whole life. He got more and more colors. And he juggled higher and higher, and it was the greatest rainbow you ever saw. And then he died.
Oh.
I'm not shitting you. That's how the story ends. His heart gives out from his final performance.
Yeah, well. Sure there's a moral there.
Yeah, the moral is don't try.
Don't do what you love.
Yeah, right. God, that story has really proven true for me. I didn't listen.
It's gonna kill you.
Now look where I am. Oh my God. This is amazing. Somebody find that book for me. That was not a joke. I didn't write that bit. It was a real book. Swear to God. That's how it ends. And finally this evening, D3 writes, Dear Alan and Dad, what's your favorite board game? Dave, favorite board game?
I guess Monopoly. I'm gonna have to say Monopoly.
If you're going to play a game where you collect money, I think Life is better than Monopoly. Because at least it's comical, you know? Like all the random shit that's happening to you. You're like, oh, look at me. Yeah. I have a bunch of debt in an old car and
full of children.
Yeah. So ha 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 ha. I love games.
But somehow you still retire with money usually.
Yeah, that's the part of the game that's very unrealistic is the end when you have
It was
money.
made a different time. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no tile you can land on where it says your life is over.
Yeah.
You just game over.
Go back to your parents.
Yeah. Think about that. Like, remember the game Life? You spin the little thing and you're running the path. There should be a tile that's like black that says game over and a picture of one of the little life pieces like broken in half.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. This got really dark, but it's not me. Yeah. That was what was in the fucking book. It was the jester died.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. Wow. All right. We best be getting on. This has gotten off the rails. Have you noticed?
No, this is about right.
Lying son of a... Guys, we're going to be back with Dave Benner to talk about his latest book, Thomas Paine, A Lifetime of Radicalism, right after this commercial break. Don't go away. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Email us at info@alanmosley.tv. Show, everybody. Our guest this evening, making I think like third or fourth appearance on the show, is a historian and an author whose latest book, Thomas Paine: A Lifetime of Radicalism, is out now. It's out now. You can buy it right now. You know what? Buy two. Buy one for the person you are now, and buy one for the person you're going to be after you read the book. Dave Benner, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for noting about the book release. That was a very great honor of mine to be able to release it and to have you introduce it. So,
well, I want to comment really quick before we get into this. Is that not a damn fine looking book cover right there? Check that out. Dave, you always have excellent book covers. Who did that right there?
Thanks. The guy that did it is named Jeff Stewart. He used to do graphics at the 10th Amendment Center, and he is phenomenally talented. So, yeah, I'm in debt to him for creating this cover. It's amazing.
Well, I know that everyone's looking forward to it, just like I'm looking forward to this interview. And we're going to start off with a tough question to hit things off. Dave, should the Green Bay Packers continue to play Aaron Rodgers at quarterback for the rest of this season, or shut him down and see what they have in Jordan Love?
Absolutely had to play him. You can't justify anything else for that contract. I hope they lose out personally for draft pick mode, but you can't start Love yet. Love is, we didn't pay Rodgers the biggest contract in NFL history to sit on the bench. Love has to develop, no doubt, but, I don't know what to tell you. I think that Rodgers is there 4 more years if he's healthy. So
now, okay, so that was going to be my next question is Aaron Rodgers the starter of the Green Bay Packers in week 1 of the 2023 season? So you're saying pretty emphatically yes if he's healthy, and you have no qualms with that decision no matter where Green Bay is as an organization. You think he's starting for the next few years at least?
I think it's happening, and I would only have qualms if they make an opposing decision. You just can't justify paying a quarterback that much to ride the bench. I'm sorry. I thought Love was a bad draft pick at the time, and the timing's bad given that they gave him that monstrous contract. So sorry, I think he's going to be here at least a few more years no matter what, and they have to start him.
So do you think that Aaron Rodgers is going to feel as strongly about being the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers for the next 3 to 4 seasons as you do, if it looks a situation kind of similar to this year where 8, 10, 11 weeks into the season, you're not really in this thing. Some of your best skill position players, of course, everyone knows about Davante Adams, no longer with the team. I feel like a lot of people who were Rodgers fans looked at the situation and said, I can understand he's frustrated because you feel like the team is not in the trajectory you want them to be in when you're sort of in the golden years of your career. But you think that that's all going to be squared away for the next few seasons?
Yeah, I do, because it seems like the management has given him more of a say in personnel feedback that he wanted. Plus, they paid him. These agents that work with the players are super talented and, getting organizations to be bent to their will. And I think money was the primary concern. He got paid. So.
All right. Well, Dave, great to have you back on the show. All right, we're gonna talk about T-Pain here a little bit now that we've gotten our football out of the way. Dave, you were on when you were wrapping up the book, and you had said at the time it's going to be published later in the year, which indeed it was. And we talked a little bit about his early life, about some of the trials and tribulations of growing up, and some of the near-death experiences that he had. What else did we talk? We talked about some of his relationships with other founding fathers and their correspondences. But something we didn't talk a lot about then at the time that I promised that we would talk about today is why Thomas Paine? What inspired you so much to write about Thomas Paine? Because this was no small undertaking. You really took the time and effort to make this right.
Yeah, man, it was a combination of a few things. Like, first and foremost is that I've read most of the Paine historiography at this point. Almost all biographers have to do that, and not much of great substance, I think, has been written on Paine in decades. I think the last really good work was by a guy named John Keane, and that one is about 25 or 30 years old at this point. I also think that all the biographers got at least one or two major things about Paine's life wrong, or they glossed over some very important facets of his life. And, most commonly, his most radical ideas. Many of the biographies do concentrate a lot on Paine's life, but don't focus on his philosophy and his political creed that he was so effective at spreading. So that's basically the most major reason. And the other one is that I can't think of a figure in his time that more successfully impacted three different societies. He rocked the political establishments of the US, Britain, and France. And even so much so that some of his political adversaries, such as John Adams, had to admit that, call it then the age of Paine, realizing this. So he's just a really interesting figure that was, way ahead of his time in so many ways.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the historiography. And so for people at home that aren't total freaking nerds like you and me, who have no idea what that means, it's to put it simply, it's the writing of history. It's the history of the history of the history of Thomas Paine. And so let's talk about that a little bit. What's the sort of general mainstream view of Thomas Paine? And what do you think about, for lack of a better phrase, what do you think about the public school education version of Thomas Paine that maybe they're getting wrong that you wanted to get right?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think the standard narrative generally is that Thomas Paine played an enormous role in, getting regular people to support the cause of independence. And I think that's true. Public school standard Orthodox narratives will also say, he contributed to some extent to selling the war after it had started in the crisis. And that's true too. But that's basically where the narrative ends for almost all, history textbook curriculum that I've seen, things like that. But there was so much more to Paine beyond that. I think that they sometimes get wrong. If they visit these aspects of his life, they get wrong the fact that he was poor and essentially friendless at the end of his life. Neither of those things are true, though he did live very frugally at the end of his life, but it was for the sake of his beneficiaries, the Bonnevie children. It was a family that he lived with in France. Madame Bonnevie and their children came over back to the United States with him in 1802, and he set up a trust to, pay this family back for taking him in his most perilous times. He set up a trust for them. He also wasn't as big of a drunkard as you might hear. What is true, and the Orthodox narratives will admit this sometimes, is he was a pariah for sure, for two major reasons. One, his viewpoints on religion, which were incredibly radical for the time. He was a deist that denied all the miraculous aspects of Christianity, basically denounced them in no uncertain terms, believed only in a clockmaker God. And also his rift with Washington. He eventually said that Washington was full of ambition and avarice because he felt personally betrayed that Washington did not do more to bail him out of his situation, languishing in a prison in France during the Reign of Terror. So
now let's talk about that a little bit, because I think a common narrative that you'll sometimes see, maybe more in like history social media than you will amongst the layman, is a lot of people believe that, there were founding fathers that, like Paine, had some radical views about, for instance, things like religion, but because of the time they lived in and because of maybe privacy or professionalism, they just didn't discuss those things. Is that an idea that you subscribe to? Do you believe that there were other founders that may have been closer to Paine than what is publicly discussed, but because of the reaction that Thomas Paine is getting, they're not sharing those types of beliefs publicly?
Yeah, I do buy that to a certain extent, though. I sometimes think it's exaggerated. Like, sometimes I'll hear people make these blanket statements like, all the founders were deists. And that's absurd. It was a very Protestant-centric time, and Paine was kind of disseminating his radical political views during the Second Great Awakening, probably the biggest Protestant explosion in the United States. So yeah, I do think that some other founders did view things on religion similarly to Paine, but it wasn't a huge number. Ethan Allen certainly was. He was not really a founder, but Jefferson was the closest to Paine. And I think Jefferson was a little bit less of what you would call a deist than Paine, because I think you can find places in Jefferson's life where he prayed, which a deist would not have done, because a deist doesn't believe that God intervenes in the natural course of the world. And things like that. But Jefferson was definitely the closest kindred mind to Paine when it came to religion. And you can see that based upon his private correspondence and, things like the Jefferson Bible, where he took a razor and glue and took out all the miraculous events of the Bible and, forged essentially his own tome.
Now, this is a question I want you to be prepared. I talked to our mutual friend, the Mike Meharry, and said, Mike, I need a really controversial subject or a question that'll get Dave deplatformed. He said, okay, here you go. Would Thomas Paine have supported the Union or the Confederacy?
Yeah, you believe this or not, you asked me this at the end of our earlier interview last year, and I think my attitude shifted a little bit. So okay. I'll clarify that. Paine he was not particularly concerned with political decentralization. In fact, in many ways, especially in his early kind of career writing in support of the war, he thought that the United States' strength came from its characteristic of being united. He thought that, we can't let, what's happening up there in New England or Virginia be isolated events. I mean, our severance depends on uniting against the tyrants in Britain, or essentially, being forced to live as slaves. So that being said, like during his later life, he certainly aligned more with the Jeffersonians, which, as were much more aligned with decentralization, understanding the federal orientation of the Union, because he just thought the Federalists were total charlatans, especially when it came to the Jay Treaty and the Alien and Sedition Acts. A lot of people don't know this, but Paine condemned the Alien and Sedition Acts in no uncertain terms. He basically derided Jay and called him a closet royalist. And he denounced the Jay Treaty because he was a Francophile that couldn't understand why the United States would not want to build a kindred brotherhood with the new French Republic. Why would you want to make closer ties with monarchy instead? It made no sense to Paine. So in a way, I think he would have maybe been either neutral or maybe even supported the CSA. I don't know. It's hard to say. This is a total hypothetical.
Now that's interesting. So just to clarify, what were if you have off the top of your head, what were the years of his life, like birth and death?
1737 to 1809. He lived until he was 72.
Yeah, so that's a long life, especially back then, and that's an interesting time frame, right? Because he is coming up before the birth of America, and he is very influential in kind of this renaissance of political thought. But he also lived a long enough time to see turmoil in the new states that of course we know where that was going, that they perhaps didn't know at the time. So would you say then that it's accurate to say that Paine saw the writing on the wall that this American experiment is already going off the rails, or did he have more optimism than that?
He totally thought it went off the rails, especially as the Federalists became entrenched in power. It's not. He was involved in matters in Europe very closely associated with the French Revolution, that he didn't really have much time or opine that much on Washington's first administration. But when it came time to for his second term, he really, loathed the fact that the Federalists wanted to basically give the British all they wanted, to kind of maintain a trade relationship with them. And he thought it was totally conducive to the hereditary monarchies that he had opposed the whole time, George III, and then in France, the monarchical system by the Bourbon monarchs. So it was, the Neutrality Proclamation, the Jay Treaty, and then, You know, when John Adams signed the Alien and Sedition Acts and began a quasi-war in France, he just thought that was, abominable. So yeah, he thought this thing went off the rails really quick. He had mixed opinions on the Constitution. He thought that there were some aspects of it that were good, and didn't write a lot about it, honestly. But he didn't like the fact that there weren't term limits, and that was a qualm that Jefferson had too. So
now, because there's certain issues that I know Paine weighed in on that are issues that are at least in the political consciousness today, right now in 2022 politics. I was going to ask you, and I will. I want to get around to ask you a kind of an open-ended question of what are a few aspects of Paine's writing and thought that we see very present in modern day, and what are a few stances of his that you might consider to be very controversial. But before we get to that, there's one that I want to make sure we touch on, because I'm sure that there'll be people in the comments that are going to bring this up, and I bet you already know where I'm going to go with this. Thomas Paine supported a universal basic income. He was a communist. Dave, tell us what the deal is with Thomas Paine and UBI.
That's true. He absolutely did. He basically concocted the first UBI scheme in German Western civilization, as far as I can tell. And Andrew Yang actually pointed this out on the campaign trail when he ran for the Democratic presidency, and I think he was right. So in the pamphlet Agrarian Justice, he called for a land tax to be assessed on all cultivated lands. And in a way, he was a Lockean. He believed that, property was given to mankind in the first place in the commons. And by using mankind's labor and combining it with those natural resources, you would create labor in the first kind. But where he diverged from Locke was he said, well, but it doesn't make sense that land is now permanently owned only by another individual. Some portion of it belongs in the commons. So on that basis, he proposed an annual stipend to be given to everyone in a given society based on the proceeds of that land. So it's true. He supported a UBI. Now, this fell on deaf ears totally. It was never embraced by England where he intended it to be, or in France. And there's some things about this that we have to be fair to Paine too. I mean, he believed that debt itself was another form of slavery. So he wouldn't have supported any kind of scheme like this that, was based on debt and reckless fiat printing and endless monetary expansion and things like that. But that part is true. He also proposed really the first progressive income tax in Western civilization at the end of Rights of Man Part 2, public works projects, aid for the poor, aid for the elderly, in what really was a proto-welfare state. And he did all this, again, falling on deaf ears, about, I think, 90 years before Bismarck implemented the first one. So all of this is true. But again, Paine didn't expect this to be funded through fiat or debt, and he really believed, and there was a truth in this, that England's onerous taxation system really did target people, and the landed lords in power had essentially accumulated a lot of wealth illegitimately. So he viewed it to some extent as a form of restitution. Now, whether or not we would justify it in that term is another question, but that is a truth.
Well, we've already mentioned two, so I don't know if we need to keep on going on controversial opinions of Thomas Paine. So we'll switch gears and talk about name maybe a list of 2 or 3 things that are really central to Paine's writing and intellectual thought that, fast forward a century or two, have truly been ingrained into the American system.
Yeah, so I really focus on 3 mostly in the book, and so I'll give you all 3. So one is the idea that we wouldn't live under a hereditary monarchy. I mean, this was an idea that was completely unheard of when Thomas Paine first kind of wrote about it in Common Sense and really expounded upon it in The Rights of Man. But now you don't think twice about that. The places where there are monarchs still in the world, they're mostly figureheads. And there are kind of totalitarian hereditary regimes, but it's certainly not the norm in the West. The other thing is the abolition of slavery. Paine was a devout abolitionist, another thing that's not written or said about him much, but even from his first writings, he practiced editorial discretion to publish a pamphlet in Philadelphia called African Slavery in America. It was a completely radical abolitionist tract really the first one that had ever been printed of its kind in North America that denounced slavery in no uncertain terms, called it an evil to participate in the slave trade, and said these people were entitled to natural rights. And not everyone from his generation was like that. Many people actually did oppose slavery, but very few people would have called for kind of those types of policy remedies. And the third is the outright disconnection of religion and the state. He focuses a lot on this in The Rights of Man and really points to the American system as a model for France to follow. He says, hey, look at what Virginia did. They severed all ties from the state, and now the state can't compel individuals to adhere to a particular kind of religion, swear a religious oath, to assume governmental office or anything like that, because that's essentially slavery over man's mind. You're essentially commanding someone else's conscience, and he thought the creator wouldn't have wanted that. So those three things are, we don't even think about them. They're such the norm now.
It's really interesting, and I know that you're choosing your words carefully, because you're not necessarily speaking for yourself. You're speaking sort of for Thomas Paine. So he would have been considered a heathen compared to a lot of the more religious types of his age, or even today, and yet he still thought of something like, for instance, the institution of slavery being something that the creator would consider to be abhorrent, but he followed that out to its logical conclusion. Well, what is slavery? That includes both the chattel slave in the field, but that includes also you living under a monarchy. That also includes debt. So, wow. I mean, that's very impressive for someone living in the late 18th century, early 19th century. I'll give you one more crack at that before we move on. Is there anything else? Because I know the book is out now. And this is not your first rodeo. You've written a number of books, including Compact of the Republic, which we've talked about on this very show. Is there anything now, looking back? I know the book hasn't been out too long. Is there anything looking back now that's kind of one of those immediate, I wish I had maybe clarified this or mentioned that? Or are you the type of person that you've washed your hands of it, you've moved on?
Oh, man. It's such a good question. I spent so much time and so many years on this. In fact, I remember talking to you about writing this book, maybe part of it like 3.5 years ago. So yes. I'm really proud of the product. I've gotten good reviews on it and good feedback on it. I think I don't know if this was a good decision or not, but I focused a lot on the French Revolution, the things that were swirling around Paine at the time, even when he didn't have direct influence on that, for better or worse. Some people that enjoy that may like that fact, but that was, a conscious decision I made to write a lot about the French Revolution and how it affected Paine and influenced his life. And I don't know if that was the right decision or not. So I'll say that. But I'm very proud of this book. It's super exhaustive. I just looked at it. It's 450 pages total, including the notes and index. So I really did an exhaustive treatment. I'm proud of how I, covered the ideas first and foremost. So I don't really have many regrets about it.
Well, really quick, let's talk up those reviews a little bit. I know you've gotten a lot of good reviews for the book. Tell the crowd at home a little bit about some of the important people who left little blurbs, who did some reviews, who maybe wrote a little line or two saying that they thought you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, I am incredibly honored that I got the endorsement and blurb of Tom Woods, Kevin Gutzman, Brian McClanahan, Brad Berzer, Marco Bassani, and a few other individuals, people that listen to this show may know. If you guys are wondering, I think that's like a who's who of the best American historians there are right now today. So I couldn't be more elated to get that kind of feedback from them. Definitely happy to receive that, but I also appreciate, anyone that's just interested in American history that buys it and lets me know what they think too. But yeah, extremely proud of those endorsements.
Well, let's bring this full circle. What do Aaron Rodgers and Thomas Paine have best in common?
Well, they both weren't very close to their family.
Damn.
I guess I'll go with that. I thought about that when you floated that question earlier in our kind of colloquial conversation, but that's what I'll say. I mean, Paine, Aaron Rodgers, it's all the tabloids and TMZ that I don't follow much, but apparently at one point he kind of, disconnected all ties with his family. Payne, tried to follow in his father's footsteps for a little bit in England, making stays for corsets, women's corsets. They are kind of structural underbindings to them, but really went off on his own from a young age and had very little contact with his family throughout the rest of his life. So there you go. How's that?
Well, now the folks at home have the recipe for what you got to do to be a great man. You got to leave your wife and children behind. Be Tom Brady, not, I don't know, someone who's actually decent. All right, Dave, where can people go to support you? But most importantly, get the book.
Yeah, absolutely. It's at go to http://davidbenner.square.site. So it's davidbenner.square.site. I have my online store there. You can order any of my books there, and I'll be happy to personalize it with a message of your choice. I won't write Nancy Pelosi rules or Kanye West 2024, though. So don't try that, but they are available there.
What about Kanye West rules and Nancy Pelosi 2024?
It just seems mutually abhorrent. I don't know.
All right. Well, Dave, thank you so much for taking another trip with us down the It's Too Late highway. A couple of things I want to hit you with before we take off for the commercial break. The first one is, now you have promised a personalized copy for me with something of a neo-Confederate nature, so I very much look forward to that. But as you know, having been an alumni of It's Too Late, we got to get you out of here on this one. Are you ready for the bonus round?
Oh man, I can't wait. All I know is I'm gonna be wrong, but let's give this a crack.
Well, it's a question with only two answers, so you have a 50-50 chance no matter what.
I love it.
Dave Benner. Is a fruitcake a cake or a bread?
A bread.
Oh, Dave, no!
I'm not a fruitcake specialist, man. You can't blame me.
You hate to see it. So Dave, here's the answer, because I didn't make this up. So bread, of course, is leavened with yeast, but cake is chemically leavened with lots of sugar added. Now, a fruitcake is a special type of thing called a quick bread. But even though it's called a quick bread is by definition a cake. Therefore, a fruitcake is a cake. I'm so sorry, Dave, but we'll try again next time.
It's sick how deep you dive into this, man. Talk about the historiography. You know the historiography of foods, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, I spent about 7 minutes getting ready for my interview with Dave Benner, but about 45 minutes getting ready for the fruitcake question. Dave, we'll try again sometime next year. What do you say?
Sounds good, man. We can do that.
Guys, we're going to be back to wrap up the show right after this commercial break. Don't go away.
If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley.
Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. You can follow me on Twitter. Twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. Subscribe on our YouTube. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. We're also on Odyssey. Go and support a free speech platform. It's odyssey.com, Alan Mosley TV. But if you're more of a listener than a watcher, you can listen on your favorite podcasting platform choice thanks to Anchor FM's anchor.fm/Alan Mosley TV. Why are people yelling? What's going on over there? I don't know.
It's that chat's gone off the rails.
Yeah, big thank you to our friend Dave Benner for coming on the show once again so that I could pick his brain about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Thomas Paine. Yeah, Aaron, that's right. There's the links there. Consider supporting the show if you like what you see and hear tonight. And, Dave, do you have a final thought?
Wish these damn buttons would work. What do I hit here?
What are you doing? No, that's Dave Cam. Now they can't even hear you.
This one.
Jesus.
All right, that's better. I don't know. My button's off. I was about to say it's been a pretty good show. We got through it without a hitch. No technical issues.
Until this very moment?
Yeah, isn't that right? So there we go. That's about it.
Yeah, Aaron's got the link right there in chat too. There's the link to get Dave's book, so you can get Dave Bender's book, Thomas Paine: A Lifetime of Radicalism. Get one for the kids. Mary, if the kids are still hungry, buy them a book so they can learn to feed themselves.
Bread for the soul.
Yeah. Yeah. After party, you think?
Yeah, a quick one.
Yeah, well, you say that.
Probably swing that. I know.
Just
3 hours later.
just a teensy little after party, because I'm pretty exhausted, actually.
Yeah. It's been a long week.
It has been a long week, and it's Wednesday. All right. After party's going to be on everywhere, because who gives a guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week. Did you know, Dave, that this song that's playing right now, it doesn't get us banned, but they block the show in Russia and Belarus.
For this song?
For this song.
Is this a Peanuts song?
Yeah, because we're playing Christmas Time Is Here by Vince Guaraldi. It blocks the show, but only in Russia and Belarus, not anywhere else.
Man, that's a big chunk of our audience.
So, for people keeping it at home, you can watch Monday Night Football live on It's Too Late, but not this.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's way too late. Alan Mosley.
Walked out of a mall into a huge parking
Oh,
lot.
Dave, you didn't turn off the
You've
bumper.
forgotten where you parked
And the
your car.
yes. You ruined it. I have to restart it. You're not
This
turning
reminds me of
buttons off.
This reminds me of a different show that I watch.
You're not turning buttons off. Yeah,
thought I
I
did.
actually like it when you guys go to like when you go to like the wheel and come back and it's just Malarkey Watch.
Yeah,
It just is, you know? All right. Well, you ruined it, so I don't even want to play it now.
Oh.
No,
wanna
I'm
see
just
it.
kidding. Mary, is Mary back in chat? Is she
I don't
watching or is she feeding children? If you'd quit
She's-
feeding them, you wouldn't have so many.
No, she's fluttering around up there.
Okay.
I don't know if
Um,
she's on though.
All right. I have
not.
to get this is for Mary, so I have to get verification that Mary is here.
Mary, you watching?
Thank you.
So actually, I got here. Did that work?
What?
What the hell's going on? Oh, I'm on the wrong scene.
Yeah, it's not even close. There you go.
There it is.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, this is what I cracked open. It's called. Well, it's green. It's green cola.
Okay.
Sweetened with that. What is that? Stevia. Tastes like flat cola. Better than nothing.
Just kick the habit, man. You don't need it.
Don't.
I can quit anytime I want to. I just don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't hit the button until.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll wait.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll pause our live stream, everyone.
So
All right.
what's up with the AOC thing? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know. I think she's gonna do an OnlyFans or something. I don't know.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know how I feel about that.
I think she's really upset because her husband is a ginger, and so she's really
Yeah,
mad
it's upsetting.
because she got colonized. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Mary's here.
Mary. Okay, I have this for you. So I was thinking about how we always talk about how your children talk at you, and I was reminded of that when I was in the store. I told that story in the show. I was in the store and there was the kid talking, and the woman kind of like snapped at her, and so I found a clip that encapsulates your children just asking you things, just asking you questions all the time.
Have you ever walked out of a mall into a huge parking area and realized you'd forgotten where you parked your car?
Ever gone mountain biking?
What do you want to be when you grow up? What's the right tip?
Have you called a plumber to your home lately? How superstitious are you?
How much money would it take to make you spend a night in a cemetery? Would you display this as a trophy? Do you have a pet? Do you have a sweet tooth? Do you believe in the power of a curse?
Have you had your hearing tested lately?
Planning a trip soon? Can you remember the tallest man you've ever seen?
Do you love to go a-wandering beneath a clear blue sky?
Have you noticed what big stars real estate agents have become?
Are you careful with your personal records? Does your computer ever seem to have a mind of its own? Have you ever visited a Chinatown section in a major city?
Have you ever visited a flea market? You ever visited a truck stop? Did you ever have a job as a waiter?
Have you noticed how many successful restaurants are theme-based these days?
Have you ever had the desire to write your initials in wet cement?
That's Chris.
Yeah, it's just questions, you know. It's just questions. Anyway, I hope Mary's not triggered now. But
Those are great.
she probably heard a few of those today. Yeah.
All right, is it the part of the show where you upload the podcast?
Well, I didn't do that last week because I'm just tired of fiddling with it during the show, so I probably wasn't going to do it.
Oh, okay. It's probably better.
Yeah, it's probably for the better. Not for the
It's
best,
probably
but
for
for
the-
the better.
No. Whoa. Be realistic.
For the best is we end the stream, delete the channel, we're out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, for the better. Now I was noticing, I pulled up my Twitter and Scott Horton just tweeted out a scene from the movie The Godfather.
Oh, I heard that's good.
Yeah. Very good. Gosh, I'm worn out actually. I don't have any more funny left.
Yeah, you got to leave it all in the field.
Yeah, Ryan says, I just got back. Are we playing marbles? No, we're not. I don't think we can do marbles tonight. That's just a whole thing.
It is.
And Mary's saying marbles too. Stop it. We're gonna start putting the marbles behind a paywall. Like we have to like you know, we have to like raise $50 and then we'll play marbles. Otherwise, no marbles.
Sounds fair.
Just play amongst yourselves.
We should set up a real marbles board at the live event.
Build a track.
Yeah.
And then put everyone who wants to play can like pay $5 and they get a marble in the bucket, and then we pour the bucket onto the track. That's actually pretty amazing of an idea. Actually. But that might be one of those things that we think is an amazing idea, and then we don't do it because it's a lot of work.
No, yeah, that sounds like. We'll give it to D3.
So instead of a track, it becomes the driveway.
Yeah, just roll them down the driveway. Half of them end up in the grass.
It just becomes the hood of the car. Yeah. Well, some of them are going to wind up in the grass. That happens in the real marbles game.
No, yeah.
It's going to be really sad for the people whose marble dies in real life.
Oh, that's an extra wing.
Oh, yeah. Ryan says I can use my woodworking skills to make a track.
Yeah, that would be fun.
There will be a trap where your marble gets shot out of a cannon. Well, we should probably make sure people are not downrange of the marble cannon.
Ooh, yeah.
Watching the
marble
race.
Embedded in your forehead.
Yeah. What we don't need is workplace injuries at the live event. Oh my god!
Waivers.
That just reminded me. I think we're doing one of those again. Oh god.
With live event?
Yeah.
That's a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Well, I still need to verify some things, but I had told we've got our little planning committee group together to help get the event going, and I had told everybody that after the 1st of December I would reconvene the group, and now it's December 7th and
time's flying, man.
Yeah.
You're having fun.
We're actually now closer to next year's event than last year's event.
Neat.
Yeah, we're over halfway. We're in the second half. That's kind of scary, actually, because this year's event feels like 2 weeks ago.
It does.
But we're actually closer to next year's event right now.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Is the venue built?
Well, okay. So remember when I said I need to verify some things?
Oh.
Yeah, maybe we can get with Blake's contractors before they get too far ahead and get them to build that marbles track.
Oh yeah, as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I need to verify some things, but yeah. So less than a month from now, we'll start marketing the event. And then you know how it is for like 30 episodes in a row, there'll be a little spot in the monologue where I say, "Hey, let's check out the live event."
And I'll hit the wrong button.
Yeah, I'll say, "Hey, check out the live event," and then you'll hear,
look at my African American
over
here. Look at him.
Yeah.
Is it the same one?
Well, I was looking for a different button, but you just hit one, so that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just go with that. Actually,
shut the fuck up. No one cares. Know your fucking place. Trash.
It came out in the show.
Yeah. Aaron's looking up marble racetracks that you can purchase. It's becoming a little too real. I had said that we need to have someone. Ryan, if you're going to build something, build a Plinko board. I think people will just play Plinko all afternoon. But also, yeah, I unironically think a live marbles race would be pretty.
Oh, that's just a single marble, though. I think the one that Aaron's looking at there. Yeah, there's a spider on my screen.
Make the Plinko board fall into the marble racetrack like on the real game. We'll just dump all the marbles onto the Plinko board, and it'll just be chaos.
Sort of cell phone.
Yeah, it'll just be nuts. And then however many marbles actually make it to the bottom, they'll run the track, and then
browser.
Celeste says Night Pals.
Oh,
Night Celeste.
Night Celeste.
What is that?
That's that marble run that he had. I got it. I think. No? Whatever. Yeah. But it looks like only one marble goes through at a time. Like, you can put a bunch of them in there, but they don't change.
Yeah, they have to race.
That's pretty advanced.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if we had one of those, but, the size of a house, then... Yeah.
I think it'd be worth it. Start selling those $5 marbles.
Yeah.
And that's the extreme set.
Well, it'll put me in a really awkward position, because if I can raise like $160,000, do I build the marble racetrack that everyone wanted, or do I just take it?
Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah, boy, if you want to know the day that you wake up and you're like, oh, Alan got banned from Facebook, that's weird. Oh, he's not answering his messages. And then you look up, oh, his channels are gone too. Huh, that's weird. It's also on the same day that we hit our fundraising goal. It's gone. Yeah. Mary says, let's just play Mousetrap. I'm kidding. That shit sucks to set up.
It does.
Yeah. I mean, basically you're just playing you're setting up an enormous pinball machine to play marbles in.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing, Lyle, is that you think to yourself, well, if you raise $160K, then you should, have the funding to like make a feature-length film or something. Or I just use the money however I want and don't do anything. It's really tough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, if I raised that much money, I would actually just pay for everyone to come down for the live event, probably. I'm like Richie Rich. Yeah. Remember how in Richie Rich, like they were paying the kids to come hang out with him, and then he got all sad when he found out? Yeah. Oh, Aaron says, I've been looking at flights to Nashville for that weekend since it'll be just Shillelagh and I coming if I get the time off.
That would be cool. It'd be super cool.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, we got to get our
marble race.
We have to get our marketing materials together for the live event, because I have to start feeling the pulse of the nation to figure out how many people are actually going to come this year.
Oh, I found it.
Wow.
There it is. Is my button just not working? Yeah. That's like a real marble space racetrack.
Yeah.
It's like a professional thing they got going on here. People show up to do that.
Yeah, Lyle says you'd have to weigh that against the fact that $160K is only a few years' salary, and then you'd have to pretend you never went away, or claim you lost your wallet or something. I actually have no qualms with that. I would get the money, and then I would just quit everything, and then totally unannounced, with no social media posts, no nothing. You would just log on one day, and it would all just be there, and it, with last post December 7th, 2022, and it would be 2026, and I would just make an episode.
They got little stands with a bunch of marbles in it. That's wild.
So those marbles are still on different tracks. It's just they're different tracks within a big track.
Yeah, they got little barriers. That's just like a Pinewood Derby set up there.
Yeah. No, we want more.
We want this here.
Yeah, we want more chaos than that. Yeah, they do have stands of marbles.
That's wild. I think this button's failing. Like it's just not working. Just very purposeful.
Mm-hmm. You have to
push it.
Yeah.
I gotta mean it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta mean it when I push it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't half-ass this one.
Yeah.
Look at that now. Now it's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm focused. My intentions are correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Intent is important.
Mm-hmm. Alvin Meebsley.
Yeah.
It's too late with Alvin Meebsley.
But I used all the money of the 160K, so I don't even pay to update the intro graphic. It still says Alan Mosley, and I just Photoshop text over that text.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just put in
Paint. MS Paint.
I thought about that actually. I thought about this was one of the ideas I had for a live show before that I never did, was if we're gonna do a live show, as in live in real time in front of a live audience, what if we didn't use all of this? What if you literally had someone like go up to the camera and hang like a piece of paper that you know, like a printout of the logo, or a flip book? You do a flip book, and so like the little moon does the thing, and yeah,
like that where they have the big thing and they rip off the pages.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what we really do have to have, though. We need to have, for next year, I've said this every single fucking year we've done the show, we need to have a person who's the stage hand who has the poster boards that say applause, laugh, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
You know. And the reason why we have to is because the goons who show up in our audience don't act right. You know? They know who they are. They know.
Goons.
Yeah. Goons. The people who just wandered in off the street because they saw some cars. The people who just got done stopping by the roadside ammo. Say, oh, what are y'all doing?
Whoa.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they got the idea here. Look at this. They got. I hit it with purpose. There we go. They just got a hill of sand, and they're just gonna let it go. It feels like we're watching the marbles game. Look at that. I gotta hide me.
That's actually great.
Yeah.
And they got little obstacles. It changes their speed and trajectory.
Moody can't get away as they seesaw an accordion back and forth. Several just biding their time. You see Nemo get past Slimer up there. Oh, we've got a couple of different pathways.
This is pretty rad.
Early on in this course. We'll see if that plays into things as we descend. 3 different ways to go down this way. Helix on the top.
Oh, this is awesome.
On the bottom. It didn't look like anybody took that lower route, and I'm not sure it was all that much quicker. It is still Cool Moody.
Then you got the announcer acting like the marbles are making decisions here.
Summer Sky.
Yeah, that announcer blows though.
Back there.
Boring.
In front of Slimer.
Yeah.
Might have been Ghost Plasma.
Not
there.
one racial
Sixth
epitaph.
spot. Now we see Lollipop
Yeah.
on the top side and loses out. Cool Moody trying to go wire to wire here as we are halfway through. We get a couple that are caught.
That's
we
only
got a
halfway
major pile
through.
up back there. 6
This
competitors
is amazing.
are out.
There's all the little bumps.
We'll have to go through who that was. In the meantime, it's still Cool Moody, Summer Sky, Nemo.
We should just play these videos and tell everybody that we're playing marbles.
Yeah. Well, it's marbles too. It's high. It's better.
Oh yeah. 4K. We just forgot the labels.
No points are offered for this, but there are plenty of bragging rights. There are plenty of ways that you can start the season with momentum or already on the back foot.
I mean,
we've got a lead change. Albeit briefly, now it comes back. Summer Sky.
This ad is actually pretty sick.
Harry's right
It is.
in front.
This track is so long. Where'd they get all this sand?
Cool Moody down to the
Yeah, I
finish
don't know.
line. Gets the win in front of Summer Sky. Red number 3, a nice recovery into third. Super Ball, Nemo, Lollipop, Black Knight, Comet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, you see all of those who are caught up 6 in the middle of the track.
That's
That is
amazing.
terribly unusual.
That was.
Aaron says it's called a beach, Dave.
Fine coating of sand.
Wasn't
And
it?
see the bump
It didn't look like a
deposit.
beach in the background,
Those
though.
plasma
No, it's just a bunch of
salt
sand on a
deposits
hill.
Somehow got going again, but eventually
That's
they
awesome.
caught up.
So, okay, so somebody's going to have to go get a dump trunk of sand to have dumped off at Blake's. Yeah, Blake will
Maybe a
really
couple of them.
appreciate that you do that.
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
some
here.
hills out there, so it's like you're not going to have to build a hill. There's hills out there. So just, get some rakes, smooth the sand out down the hill to make a track. It'd be pretty good.
It's almost too simple.
Yeah, Lyle, we'll break into a construction site. We'll get a couple loads. Dave, you ever had it? Sorry.
Oh man.
You ever had a couple of loads at a construction site? Where was that during the show? That would have been great. Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to be nice because we had a guest, but that would have been that'd have been great.
Hey Dave.
Yeah. Benner would have been fine with that. He wouldn't have cared. I'm starving. Wow. Just no respect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck
Diva.
this studio.
Diva. Fuck the studio. we're kind of I don't know. I feel like we're getting into that late stage of our careers where we don't care anymore, but there's still a few gems in there because it's like, oh man, they don't even give a shit. It's gonna be off the chain. But actually it's not an act. We don't give a shit. And
yeah. You see the last episode, Alan punched a hole through his backdrop.
Yeah. I don't even need to do that because this shit back here is falling apart. It's not. I need a new backdrop. Good night, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah, Lyle.
Yeah.
I told him I'm just gonna stay.
Oh, that's always
Yeah, I'm just not gonna leave.
That's kind of how you go through life. It's like, oh, student loans. I'm not gonna pay them. Bills. I don't like bills.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
Yeah. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Thank you. like if I won the Powerball this week and I had like $500 million, I was going to say $1 billion, but of course they're going to take like most of it. Yeah. So if I had like $300 million left over from my $1 billion Powerball, I would pay all my debt.
Wow.
So it's not like I wouldn't,
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total
Oh my god. Yeah. I'm gonna save that button. I'm gonna save that button on there for when we do the Christmas episode and Anika's here and Mary's here and we're going around telling stories about Christmas or whatever. So that just every single time anyone says anything, Hit. Yeah. Yeah. Aaron's going to the DMV tomorrow. And they're making you get a real ID because you're a Fed. God, hate to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad.
You know, I respect the Fed in chat that lets us know. Because they have to if you ask.
Yeah, that is true.
My cousin told me that.
I wish Aaron would just be like an observer, like a UN peacekeeper, as opposed to ratting me out all the time. Because I would like to work again at some point.
He's watching your LinkedIn. Every time you send a message out, he sends one right after it.
If I update my resume, then he just immediately goes in there and say, "Oh no, you can't do that."
Pretty sure that's a felony.
Oh, Mary says BRB again. What is going on over there?
Yeah, I was gonna say I should probably take off, but maybe I should just stay down here.
Wait, better wait it out. Keep your head down.
Women are in fact demented. They are dangerous people.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm getting to know. I got to get to know the buttons.
Real quick before I'm glad you're using all the buttons. I hate you so much. Just, so real quick before we hit the slow jazz and play ourselves out. So we're doing an episode the week. It's technically not the week of Christmas because I think Christmas falls on a Sunday, so it's technically the week before Christmas. But I mean, we're not going to do the Christmas episode 3 days after Christmas. No, so it's the Wednesday before Christmas is the Christmas episode, and we have
look who's here.
Yeah, see, at least I
haven't seen him in weeks. That's creepy.
Mary says, "Oh my gosh, I see that, but really, I'll be right back." So what I was going to say is that we're going to have a bunch of special guests on the Christmas episode, but I didn't actually have a plan.
Oh, yeah.
The part one was we're going to have some special guests on the Christmas episode, but I don't actually have anything for us to do.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think?
We'll let the girls handle that.
Well, I mean, y'all are like the experts when it comes to we'll just do something.
Yeah, that I just told you my trick.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Alan literally sold us out for a Waffle House coupon. I mean,
$5 is $5, man.
Yeah, right. You've fallen on hard times when you're getting out your coupon book for Waffle House. Yeah, so we do have an emote slot. I gotta do something. So let me tell you a couple of ideas I had, and if you don't like any of the ideas, then we'll just auction it off to the highest bidder. Because the whole point of an emote slot is the emote has to be relevant to something in the show. And I thought, well, what are things that are like staples of the program that we don't already have an emote for? We don't have a euthanasia.com emote. But that's kind of hard to figure out what that would be,
Yeah, it is.
I thought about having a meme of the week emote.
Again. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, how do you encapsulate that? Yeah. We do have one animated emote, so I thought theoretically the animated emote could be like a scrolling thing that says like meme of the week or euthanasia.com or something like that. But the regular emote that's not animated. Yeah, Keith, a no one gives a shit emote.
What did that look like?
Ooh, nobody gives a shit. I could take a freeze frame of that and I could crop him and have a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a popular one too.
Yeah. Or since we do have the animated emotes, we could do an animated emote that is the ooh it like flashing in neon like in the video. It's just ooh flashing in neon. Because you know, you have to be subtle, you know? You have to be subtle. You have to be hold on, you have to be subtle like this emote right here. That totally got approved by Twitch. Yeah.
Like,
So
okay.
Ryan says the viewer mail emote's just a trash can. Too true. Yeah, Aaron, I had considered like a balloon, like a little balloon floating up would be the euthanasia.com one.
Yeah. That's almost too subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're probably just gonna make an emote for a viewer, I think. Like Carl won the last emote, and then it took us like 6 months to actually make it. But I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I like it.
I think so
it's kind of a crossover emote too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, Lyle. We could have a National Football League emote.
Gives you permission to broadcast.
We could do that. We could do that and stream it on Twitch and tell people like, "Hey, subscribe to the channel and you'll get your NFL emote."
Yeah.
I bet some of those people would actually do it. Yeah.
And an okay faggot emote.
Yeah. Well, you have to have a higher tier. I made the okay emote like tier 2 or tier 3 or whatever I did.
Just get that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, I was afraid that if I made it tier 1 and we suddenly had a bunch of tier 1 subscribers spamming okay, then it would get noticed. I'm terrified of that.
That Alan stare emote is expensive.
What?
The Alan stare emote.
It's a tier 1.
It says tier 3.
What?
The Alan stare?
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, the okay is tier 2 and the Allen stairs tier 3.
Okay is tier 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. We got
tier 1's the lowest tier.
Yeah, it's okay needs to be tier 3.
Oh,
what happened here?
I don't know, they're mixed up.
Huh. Well, oh well. I think I could just move it. I wonder if it'll let me. Maybe it won't let me because we're actually streaming right now. Yeah.
I probably have more emotes I can make.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out later.
Oh, it's quiet.
Yeah, I hit the music because this is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
What?
Kind of out of. What we got?
I'm just kind of drained. I'm pretty tired. Lyle just says okay, bye. You know what? I'll tell you what. I was really proud of the Dick Shitter emote.
Yeah, I think it's good. Doesn't scroll up.
Oh man. I actually don't know if we're doing sports ball tomorrow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Mike is busy and I'm not going to do the show by myself, so. Aaron was going to get me the book. Now he's holding the book hostage for an emote.
Oh, yeah.
Did you die?
Yeah. I died.
Have you ever seen the movie?
Still here, though. I
Frighteners?
couldn't get away. I thought I could get out.
Have you ever seen the movie The Frighteners?
Ooh. I know of it. I don't know if I saw it.
Yeah, it has a Shaky Boy in it.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you passed away there.
Yeah, I thought it'd get me out of the studio, but here we are.
Brian, Sportsball has its own podcast feed. It's not in the same feed as It's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Really? Oh, it does.
It has its own feed. It's on. I'm talking about the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're separate podcast feeds because Anchor doesn't let you have a whole bunch of podcasts on one account. It has its own account, so it's its own feed. If you actually go to anchor.com/bread and circuses, it's Sportsball with Alan Mosley. So anyway, all right, yeah, no problem, Lyle. See you, buddy.
Oh yeah, I found it. And you can't see it. It's the first one that comes up when I type in sports ball.
Yeah. You get to have a freaking smartphone in the afterlife?
Oh, it's one of the punishments.
Okay. Well,
Subscribe.
I mean, everybody. I mean, should I send Mary a text or something? Let her know.
No, she'll find out. It's better that way.
Oh, okay. All right. Brian wants to know if you're the ghost of Christmas past, present, or future.
Definitely not past, because I don't remember that. I don't think about the future, so I guess present.
You live in the now.
I do.
Here in the moment. Yep.
That's right, Swole. I'm going to get what I deserve.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. Dave comes from a culture where it's just assumed that, yeah. I don't believe you, Aaron.
I believe him.
I just believe. I just believe. All right, well, that's the end of that shit. Oh, we're still alive. Hey, everybody. That's the end.
Oh, now the button works.
Oh, great. I need to go to bed soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're back.
Yeah. The reincarnated. Works
Kind
weird.
Kind of a shame that you got reincarnated as the same thing.
In the exact same moment, yeah.
Yeah. All right, hold on really quick before... Last thing, swear to God, last thing. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. I'm going to see if I can. What's the easiest way for me to do this? I don't know. I don't really feel like taking the time and effort to set up a browser capture and all that stuff. I need to just send you the link. You're the guy.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? It's a link to women trying to do men's gymnastics.
Oh, I think I might have seen this. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook.
Okay. Oh, on Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, it's women trying to do men's gymnastics. And somebody sent this to me earlier today, and after I watched it, I said, imagine being a woman, right? Like,
Let's see what this looks like.
Like, take yourself and be worse at everything.
Oh,
you know?
I want to take that out. Browser.
Okay, here we go.
Unlock that. Let's see.
Women gymnasts try men's gymnastics.
That's all upper body there.
Yeah, watch this right here.
I mean, and they're gymnasts, so it's not like.
Yeah, these are D1 collegiate female gymnasts. That's who these girls are.
Yeah, they're doing all the upper body stuff.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. That looks pretty easy.
Nice.
Yeah, but he stood straight up. They never even got above 45 degrees. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that button. I'm gonna have to not do that anymore.
So all right. So anyway, now that we've got our misogyny in, I guess we're done.
Yeah, I think we covered all of our bases.
Yeah.
That ain't what I want to do. I want to do that. Nope, not that.
Brian enjoyed it, so it was good.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it was worth.
Good night, everybody.